And that second thing that Chris loved to do more than anything else in the world was, if you were to come over to our house, into our living room, and sit on our couch, Chris was going to find a way, from wherever he was in the house, he was going to find a way to crawl across the floor. Because Chris couldn't walk, but he could crawl. He was slow, but he could do it. And he'd crawl across the floor. And he was strong enough to pull himself up onto the couch. And he'd get up onto the couch, and he'd start scooting over a little closer to you. And closer, and closer. And then Chris, what he wanted to do was snuggle. Just snuggle. That's just what Chris did. That was just who he was. That was just how he rolled. And that's what he did. And I mean to tell you, it didn't matter who you were. If you sat on that couch, he was going to find you. And you were going to get snuggled on. And I mean, boys and girls, it didn't matter who you were. It didn't matter what neighbors came over, what friends came to our house. It didn't matter what our friends looked like, where they were from, what they thought, what they believed, what they could do, what they couldn't do, what they were wearing. Nothing. Chris didn't. It did not matter to him. All that mattered to Chris was you were sitting on the couch, so you needed a friend. And I mean, it didn't matter. It didn't matter if you're a little old man like Uncle Sam. It didn't matter if you were a brand new tiny baby like our son David when he came into the world. It didn't matter to Chris if you were an expectant mother, a teenager, a parent, or if you yourself had special needs. From the time he was little until he got old, this is what he did every single day. And so throughout all that time when Chris was doing this, when I got to get into elementary school, there was just one thing about him that started to confuse me. And the thing that confused me was, he was always happy. He was always laughing, grinning, smiling. Even in the hospital, he didn't care. He was happy. He was just a happy little soul. And that confused me. And the reason it confused me is because he had nothing. He couldn't even walk or talk or anything. And he was happy. And when I got into elementary school, I started to run into a few days where I was getting unhappy. And that confused me. How could I be unhappy? I have everything. I could run and jump and laugh and play and hang out with my friends. I have everything and I'm unhappy. He has nothing and he's always happy. How? Why? That didn't make sense to me. And I remember the first day I started to feel the unhappy in elementary school. I was your age. Went to school one morning, we go to the bus stop. And where we live